In 1995, MTV tested a 5-minute pilot for a spin-off of Beavis and Butthead, built around the one character in that show who was actually paying attention. 2 years later, Daria premiered. It ran 5 seasons until 2002, and it did something almost nothing else on MTV was doing at the time. It took teenage girls seriously enough to make fun of them accurately. It became a cult classic, a time capsule. The show an entire generation of dry, deadpan girls quietly saw themselves in.
I'm not much for public speaking, or much for speaking, or, come to think of it, much for the public.
I love it because I am Daria in a lot of ways, the dry humor, the natural instinct to conserve my energy. But the character I've come to respect the most is Quinn, the pink powerhouse.
Robert, you like being allowed to sit at the other end of our table, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then I have an assignment for you.
Yes, ma'am.
In this video, I'm going to show you that Quinn's beauty, popularity, and social influence are the other side of the coin of Daria's sarcasm, her disregard for social hierarchy, and her intellectual superiority. Both are forms of power, just pointed in opposite directions.
You sort of remind me of that really popular girl I've seen around. Quinn, I think. Do you know her?
We're going to look at how the show sets her up to look shallow, then walk through the evidence, the platform she built, the skill behind the beauty, and the growth arc nobody talks about. Trace it back to where it actually comes from and rewrite the future the show never gave her. My name is Theodora, a self-declared television expert, beauty nerd, and lover of all things feminine. Sometimes I analyze cinema through character study. If that's your thing, stick around. Daria's version is easy to spot because sharpness has always read as strength. Quinn's is the one nobody credits, which is exactly why this video is about her. If Daria can see straight through the performance, the status, the games, the popularity contests, the whole theater of high school, then her sister Quinn is the reigning queen of that exact performance. Queen, our shallow, fashion-obsessed teen princess with a head for salon appointment and a phone that never stops ringing. Daria and Quinn were never rivals. They're not even opposites. They're just two different kinds of cool. The kind that gets written as smart and the kind that gets written as shallow. Somewhere along the way, we all learned to make those two kinds of cool compete with each other for attention, for validation, for who gets to be the real one. On the surface, the show hands you an easy read. Quinn Morgendorffer, fashion club vice president, allergic to the word smart, building her identity around clothes, boys, and being like. The show and half of the fandom treats this as the joke, the pretty one, the one who exists so Daria's dry wit has something to bounce off of. Daria gets the credit for being the real one, the authentic one, the one who sees through everything. But seeing through everything and getting anything are two very different skill sets.
You were going steady with Larry this week.
Larry totaled his car. Zachary's got his mom's car.
You're so smart, Quinn. You always think ahead.
Did you hear that?
The show doesn't tell you Quinn is frivolous. It codes her that way. The pinks, the mirrored shots, the framing that catches her mid-performance of self-clear all make her look like surface and style first, substance second. But that's exactly why the visual language matters. Quinn is controlling her image at all times, and the show is busy making that image look shallow, that it hides the discipline underneath it.
Did you just spend 2 hours dressing up to go to the door for 1 minute and dump your date?
Daria, if you look your best when you blow a guy off, it makes him feel like you care.
Well, that advice should prove very helpful. Sometimes your shallowness is so thorough, it's almost like depth.
Thanks.
Even her femininity becomes part of the thesis. She isn't accidentally decorative. She's managing an identity. The camera often treats her as spectacle, but spectacle is still a form of power when you know how to use it.
Well, I can't help it if I have influence around here. People admire me.
They handle vulnerability in opposite ways too. Daria protects herself by withdrawing, turning pain into irony, refusing people access they haven't earned. Quinn protects herself by staying socially mobile, reading the room, never sitting still long enough to be pinned down. Quinn builds and runs her own website. She tracks traffic, she cares about numbers going up, she understands instinctively that attention is a resource you can build and hold. This is a teenager in the early 2000s doing unprompted what an entire generation of personal brand consultants would later charge people thousands of dollars to teach. Nobody handed Quinn an audience. She built one, the same way any of us building a channel, a following, a business are trying to build one now. That's infrastructure. Here's the assumption baked into how people talk about pretty popular girls, that it just happens to them, that it's luck, genetics, a trait that they were handed at birth, the way Daria was handed a sharp tongue. Quinn doesn't talk about it that way. She talks about being good at this, the way an athlete talks about training.
You have to be good at something. You're good at your reading and writing and stuff, and you're good at your little paintings.
They are minuscule, aren't they?
I figure being attractive and popular, that's what I'm good at. Maybe it's not really important, but it's what I can do.
Quinn knows what she's good at, and she leans all the way in because leaning in is the strategy. That's the part people miss. Choosing to master softness, to master social fluency, to master being liked, that is a full-time discipline. It takes reading people, adjusting quickly, understanding what works in a room, and making it look effortless, even when it isn't. And let's be honest about what maintaining beauty actually requires. Research, budgeting, trend tracking, and understanding of what works on her specifically versus what works in general. The discipline to keep it up daily, whether she feels like it or not. That's applied intelligence with a different subject line, okay?
Why don't we do what we do best?
Quinn, no one is going to pay us to eat carrot sticks.
I mean, tell people what's wrong with their outfits.
But we do that all day for free. That's why everyone likes us.
Well, we could put it down on paper, sell our own newsletter offering advice to fashion victims. And we could predict fashion trends. People will save money with our newsletter by not buying things in the wrong fabric or belt width.
A commendable idea. All in favor?
Quinn is smart. Quinn grows. She starts the series terrified of being seen as smart because in her world, that currency doesn't convert to anything. By the end, she's claiming academic confidence in the open without giving up a single inch of who she is.
But I'm planning on going to college.
College is absolutely essential.
She doesn't become someone else to be taken seriously. She just expands.
I just came down to say I can't see you tonight. I have to write an essay.
Good one, come on. I got a special evening plan. Let's go, before there's a line at the drive-thru.
No, really, Corey, I have work to do and you have to leave. Sorry.
Daria and Quinn aren't opposites in the way people assume. They're two sides of the same coin. Helen Morgendorffer is a high-powered lawyer. That job requires two things: sharp, unrelenting rigor and the ability to work a room, hold a client, and close a deal. Most of the show treats Helen as just the workaholic mom, always on the phone, never present. But look at what she's actually doing on these calls. She's negotiating constantly. That's a full-time performance of influence, same as anything Quinn does at Lawndale, just with better billing rates. Daria inherits the rigor, the refusal to perform for approval, the instinct to control the argument rather than the room. That's Helen's courtroom brain, minus the client-facing charm, because Daria's decided the charm isn't worth the cost. Quinn inherits the other half, the room working, relationship building, know your audience, the half that even Helen, a lawyer, still gets coded as soft for having, because that's what happens to relational intelligence regardless of the paycheck attached to it.
You need to be presentable. Yes, it's a double standard, but women in business are judged on their looks, and there's no getting around that. But breast implants, I just don't know.
Quinn just runs that program in a teenage register. The fashion club is her firm. Popularity is her client list. Helen is stretched thin, trying to do both halves herself all the time, alone. Sharp enough to win the case, likable enough to keep the partners happy, present enough to hold the family together. One woman doing the job her two daughters will eventually split into specialities. Watching Daria and Quinn diverge isn't watching two kids reject their mother. It's watching the show quietly show you what happens when the impossible dual mandate gets to split into two people instead of collapsing onto one. If Quinn Morgendorffer existed in our world right now, she is not the popular girl who peaked in high school. Watching how she actually operates inside the fashion club, she's never fully of it like Sandy. She runs it. There's a difference between someone who is comfortable being the biggest fish in a small pond and someone who's just using the pond as practice water. She has an older sister who is visibly, obviously about to leave and go do more with her life. Quinn watches that. Quinn's version of today, it would be an influencer with an actual point of view, a personal brand with a real following, a network that reaches beyond her hometown.
Hey, Quinn, you're famous!
Oh, you guys, I'm just really popular.
This isn't really a Daria video. This is a video about a pattern that I see everywhere, including in how people read me. Softness gets filed as weakness. Femininity gets filed as lightweight. Being good at people, at rooms, at presence, somehow that gets treated as the opposite of being smart instead of what it actually is, a form of intelligence. Duh. And once you see the Helen of it all, you can't unsee it. Two daughters, one inheritance, two valid ways of accessing power. Quinn Morgendorffer was never the joke. She was the one who understood. And she learned it from the same woman Daria did. Daria knew how to be right. Quinn knew how to make things happen.
Shopping is kind of a girl thing. Maybe you could meet us after or something.
But what'll I do in the meantime?
I don't know. Do you have any shopping to do? Maybe there's someone special you want to get a present for.
Well, you're kind of special, Quinn.
Oh, Zachary, you don't have to get me a present. If you ask for Teresa in Junior 5 and tell her it's for Quinn, she'll help you out.
Did you get that? I hope you got that.
And that concludes my Quinn propaganda. If you made it this far, you might as well subscribe. Let me know in the comments which sister's version of power has served you more in your own life. I'd love to read your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and remember,
inner beauty is just as important as outer beauty. Like, can you have a CD without a CD player? I don't think so.